Welcome to the first episode of Ant on Music. You can call me Ant. My name's Anthony Ragone, and I used to work in radio a long time ago, far, far away. Also was a club DJ for several years, and my whole life I've been a professional music appreciator, I guess. Uh, Always loved music since I was a kid. Have always been collecting music since I was a kid, still do to this day. Hopefully I find some like-minded people out there that like these videos, and as long as you continue to watch them and like them and comment, I'll continue to make them. So today's episode I'm entitling Who Am I? Who Are You? And Who's Next? Obviously the Who Am I's, I'm Ant. Who are you? I'd like to know about you. So please comment in the comment section and also subscribe. I hope to make more of these videos. I hope to get better as they go along. And, it's been a great week for music. A lot of good stuff coming out. It's the fall starting up in just about 5 or 6 days, which always means there's going to be lots of new music coming out between now and the end of the year. There's new artists that are coming out with new releases. Of course, you have heritage acts that are coming out with new stuff as well. And then, of course, you get into box set season where there's always a ton of new box sets that are coming out. We're going to look at one of them today. First thing we're going to look at is the latest from Weezer. Weezer has been releasing what they call their seasons albums. They're calling them SZCN. And this is the latest one. This is, Autumn. And it's a pretty cool set, a little 45 EP. It's got 8 tracks on it. Haven't had a chance to listen to this one yet, but this version, which I got directly from their website, comes in a very beautiful looking ruby red vinyl. So I'm going to listen to that one later on today. Like I said, it's been a busy week as far as music, and can't listen to everything all at once. It's also a heavyweight vinyl, so that's pretty cool. And they've also released 2 prior to this, which were the Spring, which came in a glow-in-the-dark vinyl, and the Summer, which was in a lemon yellow vinyl, which is also pretty cool. If you notice my shirt, this is the Pretenders. The Pretenders are out on tour. They opened for Guns N' Roses as part of a leg of their summer tour, and I got to see them at MetLife Stadium with GNR. I will say this, I'm a huge GNR fan, but the Pretenders really took it to them. The Pretenders were fantastic from start to finish. Chrissy's voice sounds amazing still to this day. She's always managed to sing within herself, and I think that's done her well over the years. She really sounds good, and the band that she has backing her up now, just stunning. Those guys really bring it, and if you get a chance to see them, try. They're not only they're doing the tour with GNR, which I think their dates have ended, but they have also gone out on their own. Like the night they played MetLife Stadium, the next night they played the Bowery Ballroom and did a longer set, and they have been fantastic on tour. They have a new album out that supports this album. It's called Relentless, and this is it. And that one has come out just this week as well. And it's got some good songs on there that they're playing live, like Domestic Silence, love Losing My Sense of Taste. Merry Widow is cool. The second side of the album has, it's much more low-key, and it ends with a really great ballad called I Think About You Daily, which has Johnny Greenwood from Radiohead on it as well. Really good album. If you dig the Pretenders, I think you'll definitely like this one. It's definitely worth checking out. As far as the album itself, it comes in a limited edition pink vinyl. They have some pictures of the band here, and on the other side they have the lyrics, and the vinyl itself is another colored piece. It's pretty pink vinyl, kind of looks like bubblegum. And like I said, good album, definitely worth checking out. Just released. You could definitely probably still get the limited edition pink vinyl if you're lucky enough to find one. Definitely try and score one. It's also available on CD, same with the Weezer. And the next thing we got, one of my favorites, definitely a great live act. Steve Hackett, and this is his Foxtrot at 50 album live release. And if you haven't seen Steve Hackett live, just an amazing show. He is a phenomenal guitarist. A lot of people will say that he was the one that started the two-handed finger tapping before Eddie Van Halen. Van Halen fans, don't come at me. I'm a huge VH fan. Love Eddie. Steve was doing two-handed tapping, but there's actually an older guitarist from the 50s that was doing the two-handed tapping light years before these guys had ever figured it out that it was a cool thing to do. With the Steve Hackett album, it's a big set. This one was recorded live at Brighton, and as we take a look at this, we've got three or four different pictures of them live. On the back, we have here his live band, which is Roger King, Steve himself, Ned Sylvain, and also Craig Blundell, who has played with Steven Wilson of Porcupine Tree fame. And also he has Rob Townsend on woodwinds, Jonas Reingold, who plays with the Flower Kings, and Amanda Lehman. So you take a look at those guys here. You can see that. Light's not interfering with it. And more pictures of them in the live set. Pretty cool. And that as well. Steve is just an amazing guy. And these are on a heavyweight red translucent vinyl. All four slabs of the vinyl are translucent. It's a pretty cool set. This is also available as a Blu-ray and a DVD set, which I'm sure at some point I'll pick up the Blu-ray of it because seeing them live is very cool. And if you didn't notice, ordered this one directly from Steve's website. Why? Because not only do you get the red transparent variant, Steve is cool enough to autograph it for everybody, which, you know, it's always a neat little thing to do and to have if you're a big fan of any act. At least for me it is. It's one of the things that I look forward to. I always try to get stuff directly from the bands. If not, I try to support indie record stores. Indie record stores are still out there. They're alive and kicking. I have several in my area that I frequent. You know, I'm a crate digger. Always have been, always will be. But the Steve Hackett, also good stuff. Aside from the Foxtrot at 50 album, he also does some of what they're calling his Hackett highlights, as the title says. And it really is a great album. Definitely worth checking out. Listen to that already and have been enjoying it, and we'll be listening to that later on today as well. Next one that I want to talk about is a new band. I don't know how many people have heard of them, but if you're a fan of Rush, you definitely want to check them out. They're a Canadian band, just like Rush was. They play in the earlier Rush style stuff like Hemispheres, Farewell to Kings, that era of Rush. They haven't moved on from there yet. They've only been around about 7 or 8 years. And the reason I'm bringing them up, because I just found out that they will be going on tour in Canada as the opening act for Kiss. And I'm very jealous that of my Canadian friends that are going to get an opportunity to see these guys. They're called Crown Lands. It's 2 guys, so they up the crazy from Rush. If you think Rush made a lot of noise with just 3 guys, these guys definitely are in that Rush vein. They make no bones about it that Rush is a big influence on them. And they've released, I think, 3 or 4 albums at this point. They have a compilation out. But this is their latest. This one's called Fearless, and like Hemispheres, it has a big suite on side 1 of the album. It's a double album set. They're the boys in the band, just 2 of them, and you know, it's definitely worth checking out. They've also managed to put out some really beautiful slabs of vinyl as well. It's cool to look at as it spins on the turntable. Pretty funky looking splattered vinyl there from the Boys in Crown Lands. And as I said, this is their latest. Dreamer of the Dawn is a great song. Fearless Awakens. Event Horizon is also fantastic. Penny is another great song. Penny was written about one of the guys in the band's grandmother who passed away. Lady of the Lake, also great song. Citadel. So you may want to check these guys out. Like I said, relatively new band, definitely from the past decade, which, considering we've had Steve Hackett and the Pretenders and Weezer, this is a new band in many regards, and definitely worth checking out. They're on the Universal label, so give these guys a listen and tell me what you think. Tell me if you dig them. I certainly do, and I've collected everything they've put out so far that I can get my hands on, and really wish I was up in Canada to check these guys out live, because that's something I really want to see. So next, we're going to get to the biggest thing that we're looking at today, the thing that everyone's here for, all right? And that is this huge honking chunk of music. I try to buy more vinyl nowadays. I like the ritual of vinyl, sitting in a dark room with, either headphones on or just sitting in a dark room listening to music. But this was not available in this configuration on vinyl. It is massive. This thing weighs a ton. It probably weighs about 10 pounds. And, for music, that's quite a bit. So haven't had a chance to really check this out as far as the packaging goes. So we're going to look at this together for the first time. So we have Who's Next. This is also, based on the Lighthouse project, which was something that Pete Townshend was working on after the Who concluded with Tommy. He wanted to try and up the game of the Who, and he was working on this thing called Lifehouse Chronicles, or Lifehouse, I should say. And the idea behind it was that music was going to be the thing that ties us all together, and it was going to be a way for us to create our own song based on our input. And some people say it was the forerunner of the internet, and actually sometime in the early 2000s there was a website that allowed you to create your own song based on the information that was there. So this is the first thing that we open up here. This is discs 1 through 6. So it has the first 6 discs in this 10 disc set, which is a ton of stuff. It's kind of odd. I was wondering, why this wasn't released earlier. It wasn't released for the 50th anniversary of the album. It came out in 71, so this one came out 73, and on here we have Who's Next, the original album, Pete Townshend's Lifehouse Demos, Pete Townshend's second disc of Lighthouse Demos, the sessions that they had at the record plant in March of 71, the sessions that they had between 70 and 72 at Olympic Sound Studios in London, and then the singles and the sessions from 70 and 72. And we take a look at all that, as that's there. Pretty neat stuff. Put that aside. Next thing we have in here is the second set, which is discs 7 to 11. All right. And in this we have disc 7 live at the Young Vic Theater in 71. And the second disc in this, disc 8, is also from that show. And then live at the Civic Auditorium in San Francisco. And that covers discs 9 and 10. And then finally, the final disc is the Who's Next Blu-ray with the album and bonus tracks. So you have that as well. They give you a lot to listen to, and it's going to take a while to get through this. Sure, it's going to be enjoyable, especially if you're a Who fan. I've actually come to like the Who more and more as I've gotten older, and I think Pete is probably, the second best, if you want to rank things, the second best composer of the rock era, right up there with Paul McCartney. He is phenomenal. The stuff that he has written over, the past 50 years is just amazing. And the fact that he could follow up that album, Tommy, with this, and then follow that and have Quadrophenia, he's created some body of work. It really is awesome to listen to the Who if you're into them. They really are a great band, and I dig them. This is the Who at the Boston Tea Party. All right, so this looks like it is all the goodies that they give you. You can check out the back of that as well, and the front. And let's see what we got in here. All right, looks like we've got some neat stuff in here. Yeah, you got a bunch of Who's Next Who badges, including one of the classic pictures of Moon the Loon in there. And these are neat. These actually have a good backing on them as opposed to just the old-fashioned pin. So these will stick well. Neat thing to put on your jean jacket if you still have one like I do. You also have a picture of the boys in the band. Check that out. Daltrey, Entwistle, Moon the Loon, and Pete. And obviously it's not autographed, but a replica of that, but that's still pretty cool. And more goodies. All right, so we have some information here regarding, looks like the Who in concert between October and November of '71, tour dates. So take a look inside of here. Actually some pretty cool stuff. I'm gonna look forward to reading this later on today. Can't wait. And then we have the Rainbow. Okay, and the first thing we see here, Alice Cooper. Alice Cooper was apparently the opener, I suppose, on this. Pretty neat. More cool stuff on the Who. Some pictures probably haven't been seen in a long time. And posters. Let's see what we got here. This looks like it's from the Rainbow. Not the Rainbow in Cali, but the Rainbow in England. And the poster of the band. Pretty cool. I'm one of those guys, I always wonder, do you hang them up? Do you not hang them up? Do you put them aside? Do you keep them as is in the box? It's like, I'd love to have this stuff. I wish I could get two of everything so I could put one up here in my music room and then have the other one just, kept perfect, untouched. All the creases in it. And there's another poster here. And this one, let's see, let's get this open. For the Fillmore North. Pretty neat looking poster there. Let's see what other goodies we got in this. We're running out of them. And finally, third poster. All right. Pretty in keeping with the artwork of that time period, so it's pretty cool. So I will be putting these aside. So there's more in this box set, believe it or not. There's a ton more. All right. Now this is called Who's Next Lifehouse. Okay. And this is only the Super Deluxe Edition, which is what we're looking at. And this is a hardcover book. And we have a little addendum here with an update on one of the discs. And this is full of information regarding the recording sessions, the original album, has tons of pictures. And who doesn't want to see Keith Moon in all his glory? Definitely the Loon. So this is neat. This is 100 pages, hardback book that comes with it. Great shot of the band. Really neat. So definitely worth checking out. If you're a Who fan, go grab this box set. And finally, Lifehouse, a graphic novel. This should definitely be some really cool, interesting reading to create a whole graphic novel behind the story of Lifehouse and how Pete envisioned it. And the most amazing thing about this album for me is this was the result of a failed project. A failed project. This was something that was supposed to be much more bigger in scope than what it ended up being. And this was the results. And I mean, it's just an amazing album. I mean, you look at the album from top to bottom, and it starts off with the classic track Baba O'Riley. Amazing track. It has that synthesizer that Pete Townsend worked so hard on, and if you were a teenager growing up, you definitely listen to Baba O'Riley. Just that chorus alone, we're all wasted. Bargain, another great song. Then you have Love Ain't for Keeping. There's no clunkers in here. My Wife. This Song Is Over. Love This Song Is Over. One of my favorites. Getting in Tune. Going Mobile. The classic Who ballad Behind Blue Eyes. And possibly the greatest scream ever recorded in rock and roll. I'll fight you on that with Won't Get Fooled Again. I mean, this is just classic rock. It is awesome, and the cover, the very controversial cover of the Who, basically making use of the available facilities. Very, very neat. So that's, just the album alone. And then to have all the extra stuff that comes in, the outtakes, the demos, everything that there was, that they recorded. But oddly enough, as I was looking into doing something like this and doing a little bit of research, I noticed, if you have this, you think, all right, this is great. I've got this massive box set of the Who. It's got 14 bonus tracks. It's got tons of unreleased stuff. The one thing that they didn't put in, or a few things they didn't put in, have actually already been released, and I was surprised that they didn't do it. This is probably a much rarer box set. I'm sure there's going to be a ton of the Who's Next ones, but this was released by Pete Townsend back at the start of the millennium. This is the Lifehouse Chronicles by Pete Townsend, right? And this was available only through his website, Eel Pie, okay, which is his recording company. And with this box set, you ended up having an additional 6 discs. Some of them some of the material is on this box set, but there was also an additional book that talks about the Lifehouse Chronicles and how we ended up, it's basically the road to Who's Next. And there was actually a radio play that was put together to talk about the story of the Lifehouse Chronicles. I'll give you a peek at this. So this came all together from Eel Pie. I mean, it was very simple. I mean, literally, this is the cover it came with was just plain corrugated cardboard. It didn't seem like much, but the material inside is great. Some of it might be stuff you may only listen to once or twice, but for historical value, it's very cool to have. And like I said, I was kind of surprised when they said they were releasing this massive box set that this material wasn't included. I did take a look on Discogs, which if you don't know what Discogs is, it's a great place to keep track of your collection. As you can tell, I got quite a bit of stuff. And when you get to a certain point, I think you need to kind of keep track of things. Otherwise, you end up buying stuff twice, or you might find something you've never seen. And I find Discogs a great app to have on the phone and be able to keep track of everything that I own. So it's it's great to have. You know, it really is something fantastic. You know, you definitely want to check that website out. And when I looked on there, I think when this was originally released, they said it was very expensive. It was like $100, 125, you know, with shipping because it was coming from England. But I think now it's actually selling used for double that. So, you know, if you want to get it in a Who fan, you didn't know about it, it's going to cost you a pretty penny. So that's everything that I have to share with you today. I certainly hope you like what I am doing, and you know, drop a comment. Like I said, I hope these shows that I put together, these little things on music, get better as they go along. Probably talk next week about Peter Gabriel, as I'm going to check him out Monday night at Madison Square Garden. I've only seen Peter once, and that was back on the Human Rights Now tour for Amnesty International back in 1988, and that was at RFK Stadium. So it's been a while. His new album is coming out by hopefully the end of this year. They've been releasing singles via all the streaming services. In a lot of cases, 3 different versions of each single, and you know they're all pretty interesting mixes. So I'm gonna look forward to telling you about that show come next week. I want to try and do these weekly as new stuff comes out, and you know, things that come up in music, you know, make their way to the headlines and talk about that. If there's anything you'd like for me to check into, or you know, anything you suggest that you think I might like, you know, put it in the comments. And most importantly, hit subscribe. I really like to grow this thing and see where it gets. And you know, thanks so much for checking me out. Appreciate you. Take care and have a great day.